Bitcoin unstoppable. Despite a midweek dip down to 94k, BTC rebounds to set yet another all-time high. Quantum panic? Google unveils an insanely powerful new computing chip. Could it break Bitcoin? The year ahead. 2025 predictions are flooding the timeline, and yes, you should be excited. AI agents alert. Here's how AI and crypto are going to change everything. And a look at last week's top performing cryptos, dates for your diary, coins to watch, tweets of the week, and much, much more besides. This is the Coin Bureau News, live. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Coin Bureau live news show. My name is, of course, Guy, and I am, of course, joined by Nick once again.
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm good, man.
Happy
How are
Monday.
you?
Good, man. Another all-time high broken on the day.
Just another all-time high, just like that.
It's just crazy how every stream we start this and we're getting increasingly used to it. It's just supposed to be, it's like, can you imagine the concept of every single week breaking an all-time high?
I mean, I can
even
imagine
just
it.
4 months ago, just 4 months ago, 100k every single time. Another all-time high.
I'm very happy to lean into that.
Yeah.
That works for me, as I'm sure it works for all of you. So we've got lots of stuff to talk about today, quite a lot, even beyond the headlines that we're going to talk about. But first of all, as is traditional, I think it's time Nick gave us a rundown of what's been happening with Bitcoin over the last week, because it's been an interesting week.
It's been a very interesting week. But first of all, I would like to say, Michael Saylor, if you are watching the stream, as we know you do, because you usually time your buys at the start of every Coin Bureau live stream. So if you're watching, now is the time to start and to hit that buy button, because at the exact past 3 live streams, Michael Saylor bought on the time of the live stream. So last week we got Saylor's tweet here as well. He said he was questioning whether he should buy at 100k, above 100k. His first buy above 100k. We got the tweet up. We don't know, the tweet will come in soon. There we go. Michael Saylor questioned whether he should, where the next green dot should be above 100k on the day the Coin Bureau live stream starts will be the day, I think. But last week, it was a very crazy week. So if you recall in the last week's episode, we took a look at a chart that Mariano, our guy on Coin Bureau Trading, who we'll come back to, shared with us. And this was the RSI on the 4-hour. And we said that if it breaks down with the lower trend line, we could potentially see the RSI go to 35 with a Bitcoin price of 94k. And lo and behold, on that Monday, we broke down below that RSI trend line. And let's see the chart there. As you'll see, we broke there to 94k and RSI at about 36, 35. So pretty prescient, pretty good analysis there by Mariano.
Mariano called that pretty damn well.
He did, and
Props to
indeed.
Mariano.
But we're going to come back to some more analysis of Mariano this week. So what caused this crash on Monday? Well, I think firstly, there was this quantum computer FUD, right, which we will get to in a bit, right, because it is a bit of FUD, but it was interesting. But on a market microstructure level, you could see that there was a lot of selling on Monday as well, and this is captured by the cumulative volume delta, right, on both Coinbase and Binance. And you can see there the cumulative volume delta, guys, is the difference between the buy and sell volume, right? So obviously the buy minus the sell volume, and as you can see, it continued falling, which means there was more sell pressure than buy pressure on the volume metrics over there. This was a spot, of course, spot and Binance and Coinbase, okay. And then of course what happens in the spot markets? Well, if you highly leverage and you have a very sprung market in terms of high leverage and open interest on the perps, we're going to get a deleveraging event, which happened actually, of course, and it was massive actually, mostly on the altcoin space, but 1.5 billion, which was the biggest since 2021.
We are so back.
We're so back. DGen's getting wrecked. There is nothing that illustrates a bull market more than DGen's getting wrecked on the long side.
When we're dealing with multi-billion-dollar liquidations, you know it's happening.
But it was mostly altcoin liquidation, so we can see the chart here from CoinGlass. We'll bring it up as well. There we go. Yeah, you can see all those long liquidations. But this did not last long. So it was a big deleveraging. However, on Wednesday, there was a strong bounce back, right? And firstly, let's take a look here at, it was also, of course, spot buying. And this is another interesting indicator. It's the Coinbase Premium Index. So what this is obviously the difference between the price of Bitcoin on Coinbase and other overseas exchanges. Generally, the premium is, mostly people think that obviously Coinbase is a lot of institutional buyers, US-based buyers, and this is, of course, the spot buying as well. So this showed that there was, it spiked, which therefore means there's been a lot of spot buying on Coinbase in the US. And then, of course, because of the deleveraging, we had funding rates normalize again, right? Futures funding rates, perps rates, which have been running very hot, they've normalized, which therefore means more healthy now. So now we can continue the rally in a healthy way without having to worry about people getting wrecked.
Oh, thank goodness.
And of course, no more extreme volatility. And then, of course, what happens? Just yesterday or this morning, Dubai time, or like over the weekend, we got news that Trump was he was reconfirming these ideas of a Bitcoin reserve. And then what happened? Bitcoin shot up last night, early Dubai time, above a new all-time high at about 106,000 or so.
Wow.
The Santa Claus rally has started. Santa is on his sleigh. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Shiba Inu is running around town, dropping all these crypto gifts for us.
Delivering green candles down everyone's chimney.
You get a green candle, you get a green candle if you've been a good boy. If you've been a bad boy, you've been wrecked. You're getting shorted, you get liquidated on the altcoin liquidations. So that's what's happened.
Okay.
But now what's happening? Well, this week, big day on Wednesday. Well, I mean, It's pretty much, you can say big day, but it's pretty much in the markets, right? It's priced in. A 25 basis point cut by Jerome is coming out with his final cut of the year.
Okay.
Before he goes on holiday. Then we have some more Mariano analysis for you, which is really interesting. And we showed this to you last week as well. And this is a fractal analysis, right?
Right.
And it looks at, on the left, we've got the current market dynamics, right, around the breaking through new all-time highs in the current December time period on the daily. These are daily charts. And then on the right is what we had back in 2020. So it's a fractal analysis.
Absolute face melter.
Absolute face melter after breaking through new resistance levels back to, above the levels over there. So basically, the CPR levels, so the central pivot ranges, you can see those are the lines above that. And this is basically trying to see whether there is any way this fractal could play out in this market cycle. And what is interesting is you'll note that you'll see these, the particular left to right, if you look and reading left to right, and also worth pointing out, these are both the same time zone, both in December, about the same exact time in December.
Okay.
So it's been mimicking 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the trend lines in terms of the fractal analysis with back in 2020. And it completes in, of course, as mentioned, shape and timing. And 16th of December 2020, we had that large breakout that took us well above 20K to newer highs. So if we continue today with the green candle, and this one on the left needs to be updated a bit because this was last night, we could see Bitcoin at 108K by the end of the day. And if that could then be followed by another candle taking us to 114K during this week, if the 2020 fractal is borne out.
Okay.
So that's really interesting.
Gosh.
And one more chart that Mariano shared with me, which is really interesting as well, is the liquidity pools chart. Now, this is from a site called Trading Different, which basically, these trading pools are basically all the liquidation levels and stop lot levels, right? It's where there's a lot of liquidity that market makers would be tending to want to push the price in order to get liquidations, right? So it acts as kind of a magnet. And we can see here on this chart as well that the over and the red, the heat map here is also the more concentrated the liquidation levels are, i.e. the more orders there are, the more hotter the heat map. So about 108 to 110K, we've got these very hot liquidation levels.
Okay.
So yeah, that's some really interesting analysis, which means that more likely than not, prices are likely to go up if we go, and especially if we break through those, if we continue that fractal, if the fractal, trend lines that we've seen from the previous chart. So this is Mariano's analysis. I will, of course, refer you guys definitely to Coin Bureau Trading, where
Absolutely.
it is at, because there's way better breakdowns there of this analysis done daily with not just Mariano. Mariano does most of the Bitcoin stuff, but we've also got Dan, who does a lot of the altcoin daily rallies. We've got Aaron, who does a lot more deep dives in terms of like larger trends and trading analysis. But check the Coin Bureau Trading out, and the thing will be over here, the QR code.
Just above your head, Nick. Just
There we
above
go.
your head.
There we go.
Scan the QR code. That will take you to Coin Bureau Trade. Scan it after you've finished watching us, of course.
Of course.
Okay, so, it looks like there is a lot of potential upside here.
There is. It seems like it's looking like that. And remember that it was the 100K level, which is it was the psychological level. Now that it's broken through, funding rates, like I say, have come down, leverage levels have come down. And now we're going into this period where, of course, the FOMO around, this Bitcoin reserve is potentially coming out, nation state accumulation, all of this stuff. Not even the threat of FUD from a quantum computer can scare us.
Okay, well, that means we have to start talking about quantum computing FUD then. So this is the next item that we were going to look at today. You guys might remember last week there was a fair bit of talk about this in the crypto media and elsewhere, because this is, I've got to say, this is absolutely mind-blowing stuff. on a whole lot of levels. So Google unveiled its new computing chip called Willow.
Mm-hmm.
This is a quantum computing chip, and they have a test kind of calculation that they use to see what this thing is capable of.
Random generator, yeah.
Yeah, and it managed to do it. It managed to complete this benchmark computation in under 5 minutes, which is pretty impressive. It's even more impressive when you realize that it would have taken the world's fastest supercomputer. So that's a supercomputer. That's not just something your laptop or desktop. The world's fastest supercomputer would have taken 10 septillion years to do the same thing. Which, I mean, that's sort of numbers. That's not even real numbers anymore, is it?
Yeah.
When you consider that the universe itself is less than 14 billion years old, you start to get an idea of just how utterly mind-blowing this quantum computing business is. So, I mean, this is something that's been talked about for a very long time. We've done a video on quantum computing before. It is an incredibly exciting technology. There is a sense, I think, that it's a bit like sort of nuclear fusion in that it's one of these things that could just completely change everything, but it always seems to be 10 or 20 years away or whatever like this. But there does seem to be that this latest from Google is something of a breakthrough. I think we'll find shortly that maybe it's not quite the breakthrough that some people have made it out to be, but it is certainly a really big leap forward in what quantum computing can do. And obviously, this has aroused concerns that perhaps a quantum computer could someday come along that would be powerful enough and I think crucially stable enough to potentially crack Bitcoin's encryption and many other types of encryption as well.
Yeah, so I think this has always been a concern. Even Satoshi himself, back on the forums, they knew about this concern for the quantum computers cracking SHA-256, the hashing algorithm with Bitcoin. They could use something called Grover and Shaw algorithm to potentially try and crack the hash functions. And the hash functions are obviously the private key, how you get the private key from the public key from the private key, right?
Yeah, but not the other way. Crucially, not the other way around.
Exactly, not the other way around. So they're generally very secure in the way of trying to find it, try and brute force it's nearly impossible, basically impossible. So there is this concern, and of course, many other cryptographic protocols it could break, right? So to be honest, we'll get onto that. Although there was a lot of, I think it was the FUD was unjustified because although this concept of it can break, it can generate this random number generator the same way that a classical computer does in 5 minutes in 10 septillion years. Similar claims were made of the 50-qubit machine back in 2019 that Google released, and it was quickly questioned by IBM's, scientists as well, and they later were able to replicate it with a conventional machine as well in the same time frame. So while it's scientifically impressive, the consequences of everyday life are very slim, right? And that's also because it's a very specific calculation, random number generator, which is not really that practical for many things you want to think about, solving a hash function, trying to crack a hash function or trying to run all these different types of parameters. And it's also very unstable, right, in terms of the way a quantum computer works. So, for example, Google's 105 qubit Willow chip, right? It would take a long time to have the scale required to crack things like Bitcoin, as well as challenges include error rates. You have very large error rates with these qubits.
Yeah. And
these things have to operate in like 0-degree temperatures to basically even run, right? And obviously there's scaling issues as well.
And of course, a qubit is the unit of computing power for a quantum computer, whereas a regular computer is measured in bits and gigabits, etc.
Exactly. It can exist in both states. It can exist in 0 or 1 or be either.
Okay.
Mind-blowing stuff. It can be either state, right?
So, this allows, you can sort of see how that would allow for kind of exponential increase in computing. The more qubits you add, it just becomes more and more powerful.
We've actually got an interesting graphic from the Google release itself. Okay. So you need the physical qubits in order to generate these logical qubits, right? So Willow was 105 physical qubits. It was able to generate one logical qubit. Now, in order to break RSA 2048, which is what most of the internet runs on for HTTPS, etc., you need 4,000 logical qubits and 8,000 for SHA-256 for Bitcoin. And just to give you an idea in terms of what's required from the physical qubit point, right, the qubits required to generate the logical, The University of Sussex estimates that breaking SHA-256 within a practical time frame would require 13 million to 317 million qubits. So,
okay,
and we've only got 105 so far.
Okay, so that's good.
So it's a long, long way off. And also, I will note that in 2019, it was a 50 qubit machine. So, in 5 years, I mean, it's
okay. So at that rate, 50 qubits a year. Even if it was to double every 5 years, or even if it was to double every year, we're still a way away. But
and one other thing that's important to note here is that you need the public key to try and crack the private key, right? And the public key is only public for a certain period of time before it's actually hit, confirmed, right?
Okay.
So when it's waiting in queue. So basically there is this certain period of time, usually in Bitcoin block times about 20 minutes or so, that you can actually see the public key and try and pull it out, right? So that had to be very quick. You'd have to have this impossible machine that's really very hard to run, very unstable, millions and millions and millions of qubits away. You'd have to be run by a nation state because it's so expensive. All this, and you'd need to also do it within 20 minutes.
Okay. So I think, all right. So if you're holding Bitcoin, you don't need to worry about quantum computing just yet. This is maybe not tomorrow's problem, the day after.
But even if you are worried, guys, Bitcoin wallets could easily be upgraded to be quantum resistant, a thing called the Lamport signature. So, and to be honest, also one other thing, they do have quantum machines that can crack SHA-256. They can crack nuclear silos. They can crack, the most hardcore encryption standards there are in the world. So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess if every encryption standard is suddenly cracked, then you're going to have a lot more problems than your Bitcoin. It is interesting, though, because as you say, these Bitcoin wallets can be upgraded, but there is a lot of old BTC sitting around, especially the old BTC in Satoshi's wallet. And because that's not encrypted to the same standard, that would have to be moved. So there is talk that maybe at some point Bitcoin would need to fork. There would need to be a hard fork.
Yeah.
And I think then that would really get interesting, because I think the Bitcoin community would tear itself apart debating that one, because there would be I think there would be discussion over, well, what happens to these old coins, these coins that are supposedly dead? Do you freeze them? Do you allow them to be taken out of circulation? There's a case to be made that that would be necessary, but I can absolutely guarantee you there will be people in the Bitcoin community who will say, no, that is against the ethos of Bitcoin. You cannot freeze these coins.
Or it could be a great idea to get Satoshi to reveal himself.
Well,
Don't you guys dare fork that.
Just, whoa, one sec.
Okay. I know I'm supposed to be a non, but do not fork that.
I'm just going to come out of retirement for 5 minutes just to tell you. Okay, so, I mean, quantum computing... I think the really interesting thing about it, obviously, there is this sense that maybe it could crack encryption one day, and I think you would hope that humanity would kind of get ahead of that. But what's really fascinating, I think, about it is what it would make us capable of doing, because that level of computation, apparently the implications for everything, the development of drugs and antibiotics, apparently the modeling of lithium, of new batteries, all these sort of technologies, because you have that exponential amount of computation available, in theory, that would allow us to do, that could be sort of the next stage of sort of technological evolution.
It's funny, everyone looks at these technological advancements and looks at what's the worst thing that can happen. What's the worst? Let's not talk about all the medicines that can create and the people that can be saved. Let's talk about the fact they're going to steal my coins.
Wait a second, is this going to crack Bitcoin? Yeah. It's fascinating, though. It really is. It really is something. I think one of those technologies to kind of keep an eye on. And no threat to Bitcoin yet. But why let the truth get in the way of a good bit of FUD? Okay. One way you can protect yourself from the dangers of quantum computing and make yourself feel better is to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to ring the bell. Do all that good stuff.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Thank you very much. Yes. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the year ahead. We are at that time of the year. We're in December. Christmas is coming up. The Santa Claus rally is starting to kick in. So it is all about predictions for the coming year.
Predictions. Yes, there were quite a few that came out over the past 2 weeks. And we also actually have our predictions coming out in the next 2 weeks, Coin Bureau predictions, as well as the grading of Coin Bureau's 2024 predictions, which were actually pretty good, but we shall see. No, not going to spoil it. But yeah, so one of these, there was obviously, like I said, there were a lot of predictions. But I think the one that I wanted to choose to go through today is one that was by Bitwise. The reason being because these guys were pretty damn spot on with their predictions, especially as it relates to Bitcoin's price. And they were actually one of those that got it really spot on after the 80K levels before Trump, and according to all these criteria. So I thought these guys, obviously, they have quite a record with us then, right?
Yeah.
And there were quite a few of them, and there were 10 in total. We've only picked a few, like 5 to go through, but that we think are the most interesting to discuss. And we're going to give our thoughts on it as well, and whether it's reasonable. To be honest, I think we agree with all of them. One of them is questionable. So prediction 1, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana will hit new all-time highs, with Bitcoin trading above 200,000. So there we go. There's the price prediction. So what do you think? Think reasonable?
I think that is reasonable. Yeah, I think 200,000 is achievable if this strategic reserve thing really kicks off. I noticed that other countries are talking about it now as well, or politicians in other countries are sort of making noises about creating their own strategic reserves. So there's Trump has referenced it again, as you pointed out. So there is definitely a sense that this is perhaps more than just a meme. Like this could well be something that we see in 2025. If that happens, I think at 200k Bitcoin, that might even be a bit of a conservative estimate. If we see nation state adoption. Ethereum 7,000, I think, again, that's fairly conservative, given sort of ETH's struggles lately. I think maybe that's the most accurate of the lot at this stage. I think Solana 750, I think that's a bit low. I can see Solana going a fair bit higher.
Low, yeah. I think Sol will outperform ETH, which is why I hold Sol. Still question why you hold ETH, but that's another debate.
That's a debate for last week's live stream.
Week's live stream. Interesting. Yeah, so I agree with all these. I think that it's interesting as well. So if you guys on more Coin Bureau, I just this weekend did an interview with Murad Mamadov, the meme coin evangelist, meme coin Jesus himself. He also had 200,000 Bitcoin. He had 10,000 Ethereum and 1,000 Solana. I think these are totally reasonable numbers. And yeah, one thing to note there, this report also had potential headwinds and catalysts. So one of the potential headwinds, it's important to look at those potentially, is disappointment from DC. It's always a quick concern.
Yeah.
Leveraged blowout. Degen's getting wrecked, of course, and now there's also leveraging with institutions and TradFi. Selling by governments, the UK government seems to hold a lot if the Brits decide they need to go and pay their debts down because
it could happen.
Could happen. They need to fund some stuff, all the people leaving.
I think a big stack of BTC is just about the only thing that the UK has going for it at the moment. So, yeah.
Meme coin mania failure is interesting because that I would assume would relate to Solana, because Solana seems to be like now where a lot of those meme coins are created from an infra perspective. And then disappointing rate cuts, which is also fair.
Yeah, it's easy to forget we are still in a very high interest rate environment in the United States and elsewhere. So, yeah, I mean, obviously looks like we've got another 25 bip cut coming up on Wednesday. Yeah. But I think the markets will want to see plenty more of those cuts in 2025. So at some point, the focus will come back to that. Anyway, let's move on and have a look at Bitwise's second prediction. We're not going to look at all of those. We just picked out half of these to have a look at. So Bitwise's second prediction was that Bitcoin ETFs will attract more flows in 2025 than they did in 2024.
Totally, man. Totally.
I mean, given the absolute god candle of flows that we've seen this year. I mean, these ETFs are not even a year old, let's remember. I was listening to the chaps from Bitwise talking through these predictions on Bankless the other day. That was a really good episode, by the way.
Was it Matt Hogan? Or?
Yeah, Matt Hogan and Ryan Rasmussen. And Matt was pointing out, he's obviously an ETF expert. He was saying that in general, ETFs tend to attract a lot more capital in years 2 and 3 than they do in year 1. Now, if that plays out for the Bitcoin ETFs, again, I think that's one of the reasons why 200k Bitcoin in those circumstances may be a little conservative, because we've seen billions upon billions of dollars in this first year.
And also, I will note that some of the biggest wirehouses, so wirehouses are these like brokerages that facilitate the connection to the registered financial advisors. They haven't even yet, started integrating the Bitcoin ETFs into the wirehouse. At the moment, the lots of Morgan Stanley, all these other ones. The moment they start doing that, you create even more of an opportunity for streamlined flow into these ETFs. And I think, easily more, and I think definitely at least double the flows, because look at the gold ETFs.
Yeah.
Year 2 was almost double the flows of year 1. But I don't think there was anything particularly happening in 2005, which is year 2 of the gold ETFs, that was people going bullish about gold, as compared to Bitcoin, a literal nation state accumulation of this asset.
Yeah.
And that's like the most bullish catalyst there can be.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy how much that those spot Bitcoin ETFs have outperformed gold.
Damn straight.
It's insane. Okay, so Bitwise's 5th prediction that we've pulled out. Now, this was an interesting one, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail later on. Tokens launched by AI agents will spearhead a meme coin mania. Oh God, another one, even bigger than in 2024.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. This is interesting because, I think so because, obviously it's this intersection between two really exciting narratives. Obviously, the whole meme coin idea and the meme coin thesis and the meme coin supercycle concept. Again, guys, that interview on More Coin Bureau, go and check it out because it is an interesting thesis. And AI is obviously also this concept that you can have these autonomous agents that basically can create and create these meme coins and actually go and invest in them and all these other stuff. We're going to be coming on to this a bit later in the stream. But I think it's totally possible. Yeah.
I'm seeing quite a lot of comments. I mean, I'd need to confirm this myself, but apparently Saylor's just bought again.
No. I think that can't be. That cannot be.
Unless you're white.
I think they're taking the
East Coast Lobster. Now, East Coast Lobster, if you're talking BS here, you're going to be in trouble. He's claiming MicroStrategy just bought 15,000. If you're fake newsing us, that's bad, my friend. That's bad. But I mean, it would be on trend.
It would be on trend, yeah.
So Saylor.
Did you listen to his podcast episode with Alex Thorne recently?
No, I remember you sent that to me. I haven't got around to that yet.
Guys, go and listen to that. It was wild. Yeah. Okay. What did he say? He said Microstrategy is a nuclear reactor and Bitcoin is the fuel. How cool is that? Yeah, he's madman. It's cool.
Wow.
So prediction 7, Coinbase will enter the S&P 500 and, speak of MicroStrategy will enter the NASDAQ 100, adding crypto exposure to nearly every US investor's portfolio. And guess what happened over the weekend? MicroStrategy's added to the NASDAQ 100.
Yeah. So this is a list of 100 companies in the US that are non-financial.
Tech papers, yeah.
Tech, basically tech. Although there are some non-tech, Starbucks and things like that. Okay. I mean, it's kind of becoming a little bit moot as to whether MicroStrategy is a financial company, because I mean that's I don't know what their business solutions arm is doing, but it's the Bitcoin that everyone's talking about.
Even if they get chucked out of the NASDAQ 100, guess what else waits, guys? The S&P 500.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility they could be added to the S&P 500 along with Coinbase. And the amount of flows that could come because of all these passive funds that have to be allocated to these shares have to buy it. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who your investors are. You have to buy it. You have to track the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has both MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. You buying grandpa Bitcoin exposure. Bang.
Crazy. When you consider one of the other Bitwise predictions that we haven't got time to talk about today was that a lot of crypto companies would go public in 2025. And I can see things like Circle eventually ending up in the S&P 500 and these passive funds having to buy them. TradFi could well pump our bags this coming year.
Amen, man.
Yeah.
Final prediction. Now this one is slightly, the value of tokenized real-world assets, RWAs, will surpass 50 billion as Wall Street's embrace of crypto intensifies. So, I personally don't know, and I wonder if they're referring here to just public chains, public on-chain. But I think that institutions on Wall Street are more likely to develop their own permissioned chains, and especially like a consortium of some description to issue these securities. And will want to do that instead of just issuing necessarily on public chains. Because right now, the likes of Biddle and all these other funds that have been issued, these bonds have been issued, they've been on Ethereum. But JP Morgan has Onyx, and there's a few others that have these proprietary chains. And we've got a video coming out on this in the next 3 or 4 days, guys, but that analyzes whether these banks will launch their own permission chains to issue these RWAs. 50 billion is, it's not far away. It would basically be about 3x from now. But, I think that's probably a bit less likely than the others. My personal opinion. I don't know what you feel on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess of all Bitwise's predictions, I think, RWAs is perhaps the one I'm least bullish on, or I think may have the lowest chance of coming true just because, I think, Well, the regulatory landscape is changing. That was one of the reasons I was not quite as bullish on RWAs as a lot of people are. But yeah, this idea of public or permissioned chains, and I think I'm not sure what the incentives are for these banks, these mega banks, whatever they may be, to use public chains when they can use private chains. And I mean, you've got the likes of JP Morgan's Onyx. These things are developed.
Yeah.
So. I don't quite see at this stage what the case is for putting it on a public chain. So I mean, but there seems a certain inevitability about it all. It's just whether perhaps 2025 is that year. I don't know.
Yep.
So we'll see. Okay. Someone's just shared with me. I should try and get it up. But Saylor has tweeted: MicroStrategy acquires 15,350 BTC. Holds 400.
No, it's confirmed.
Zara's confirmed.
Wow, man!
Now holds 439,000 BTC.
Manifesto. No, but Saylor's watching. We know that. You know it.
Michael, congratulations!
Congratulations.
I wish you'd let us know before you. Well, I suppose he's doing it all the same time, because whenever we make a video about MicroStrategy,
where's the money gone?
I'm always. Whenever we make a MicroStrategy video, the numbers are always wrong by the time we've put it out, because Saylor's gone and bought a whole load more. Good on you, Michael. Good on you. You do you. Okay, so before we look at AI agents and crypto, it is time for, you guessed it, the Wall of Shame.
What was that?
You blink and you miss it. That was great.
Jesus.
Okay, it is time for the Wall of Shame. So this is the 4 countries which had the lowest number of viewers of last week's live stream.
El Salvador, man.
El Salvador again. This is not good.
Not good for crypto adoption in El Salvador, hey?
Yeah, I'm not as bullish on El Salvador as I once was. Rwanda and Botswana.
Yeah, guys, what's up, man?
First time on the list for these guys, so we'll forgive you this time. Liechtenstein's an odd one. I mean, I guess both of the people who live in Liechtenstein were busy at that point.
Yeah, the prince and the princess of Liechtenstein were away. They're the only 2 people in Liechtenstein.
It's a little bit harsh on Liechtenstein, I think. So that's the list of shame. So must do better.
One interesting fact about Liechtenstein, it's the only country with no debt.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw that. I found this fact today. Obviously, it's not like it's a random fact, but yeah, it's the only country with no debt. So yeah,
good on Liechtenstein.
Yeah, good on Liechtenstein.
Well,
yeah.
they're probably out partying. They don't need to get themselves out of a hole with crypto.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hope your country doesn't make the list of shame next week. Tell your friends, make sure they're tuning in, because there is no greater humiliation than to see your country's flag on the Wall of Shame.
There we go.
Okay, Nick, let's talk about AI agent cryptos.
Yep. So now, obviously, firstly, let's define what is an AI agent, in case anyone is wondering. It's an autonomous program using machine learning for decision-making and task execution with minimal human input, unlike traditional bots with rigid programming. So it's very important to differentiate an AI agent from a typical bot, which has these programming rules that it can't adapt and it can't learn for itself. Now, obviously, this is it's blown up over the past 2 weeks, or specifically over the past month. And there was one of Bitwise's predictions, which we've talked about, but there was also a prediction from Van Eck, another asset manager, big asset manager, and they predicted that AI agents on-chain activity will surpass 1 million agents.
Wow.
Totally doable with launch pads and likes to throwing these things out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Franklin Templeton digital assets with the intern was on fire over there. AI agents, interesting.
Okay. The Franklin Templeton intern is brilliant.
There we go. Yeah, he's definitely deserves a raise there. Him and the Kraken intern, which we'll get to. What's interesting about the AI meme coin meta is that usually we have tech first coming and then the meme. Whereas here, the meme was launched first because we had the GOAT meme coin, which came from the Terminal of Truth, and the whole backstory. I can't go into it all here, but Terminal of Truth, of course. And they launched this GOAT meme coin, and now we've got meme coin tech being created with these launch pads. Virtual's one of them, right? These built these, and there's a few others we'll talk about. But Virtual's building this infra to be able to launch agents and manage these agents. So some of them, for example, and this is borrowed from K33. They did Navigating Narratives column.
Yep.
They've got this report on AI agents. And there's a few of the top ones, obviously Virtual's. Now, Virtual's just going to be going crazy over the past.
I mean, it's now a top 100 crypto. in a matter of weeks.
And Kevin from the Discord, our researcher, right, for the Coin Bureau Club, people within the Coin Bureau Club Discord, he was talking about virtuals, what, a few months, like a month ago?
He's been in there for a while. In fact, I haven't heard from him recently.
I think
Have you heard from Kevin?
I think he's already on a flight to the Maldives and he's resigned.
Good for Kevin. Yeah, he was in virtuals.
He was in virtuals,
and he was.
And he was talking about it as well, and we were talking about it as well, covering it in research reports and research analysis and stuff like that. But that's tokenized AI agents as a launchpad on Base. There's also one on Solana called Hat. Which you could potentially, Top Hat.
Oh, the tokens.
Tokens Hat. Slight lower market cap, potentially beta play, non-financial advice. AI XBT, which is an AI agent as well.
That is really good. I follow AI XBT on Twitter, and it's great. Like, it's got lots of posts, constant sort of stream of analysis, and I cross-checked some of it, and it's there
because it's taking information from KOLs now. Hopefully, it's following the good KOLs.
Yeah. Well, you've got to hope.
Not the question. Which, I mean, getting it down to a narrow list of but. And then another one, there's AI agent on Twitter that's seems to be quite popular and is very interesting, is Dollars or Bully. And it's an AI agent that basically goes and throws shade on Twitter, like tweets and stuff, and with wit and memes. And we'll get to some of those as well, but it's very funny.
Yeah, I'm following this one as well. It is good fun. And I mean, it's crazy. Like, as we saw with Terminal of Truths, which I also followed for a while before it got a bit too much. But it can be kind of hard you have to remind yourself that there's an AI behind this.
Oh yeah, man, it's totally good, man. This bully's got some better tweets than any kind of. Yeah, we'll get to a few of them. And there's also this DAO, AI16Z DAO, which has also done very well. And it's managing crypto funds, and it's utilizing investment decisions from a AI agent called Mark Andreessen. AI
Andreessen, yeah.
AI Andreessen, interesting stuff here. I think that this is the meta that's going to be 2025. It's something that, I think is exciting. It's something that's obviously this confluence of two really interesting technologies. And there's a lot of exciting, coins in the sector. We cover some of them in the Coin Bureau Club.
I mean, June Analytics have just released their own AI agent dashboard.
The Virtuals Launchpad dashboard,
the Virtuals Launchpad one, which just shows, this is becoming a thing. This is becoming a thing right in front of our eyes. And also, interestingly, Andy Irie, who I hadn't heard of before a few weeks ago, has been named in the top 10 of CoinDesk's most influential in crypto in 2024. There's quite an interesting profile of him if you go to CoinDesk. So I do urge you to check that out. But this thing has come sort of seemingly out of nowhere, and as you say, I think it is going to dominate much of the narrative in 2025. And from speaking to people, I mean, I interviewed a chap, a product engineer at Coinbase who is working on these things, and I mean, it goes beyond. It seems to me that when we first started talking about AI and crypto, a couple of years ago, when ChatGPT came out, there was certainly, I got a sense that it was like, well, how exactly are these two going to interact? Like, where is the synergy between AI and crypto going to come from? And for a while, a lot of people were suggesting it's like, well, AI could be used to audit code, for instance. Crypto code quite often could do with a bit more auditing. So there was that. But this, to me, seems like it could be the use case that AI and this intersection of AI and crypto has been looking for. And from talking with Lincoln at Coinbase and reading up on it elsewhere, not only are you going to be able to use an AI agent to interact with crypto and go on chain for you, but I think it's also going to be able to sort of function as your own kind of personal assistant. It's going to be able to access. Basically, it seemed to me that there was a sense that AI agents could eventually end up doing most of our kind of online stuff. So the time that we spend online, is kind of abstracted away, if you like, and it's sort of the less enjoyable parts of it are done by the AI agent.
Yeah, ideal, man. Saves us time and money,
Yeah, saves us. You could just go, AI agent, can you just deal with my emails, please? Can you just ghost all the people that I need to ghost?
Can you ghost all the requests with the project? Can you please talk about this?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to buy a sponsorship here? I was like, okay, but
So I think this is going to be a truly fascinating thing to watch in 2025. Now, obviously, as we looked at there, I mean, there are already kind of, there are launch pads springing up left, right, and center. Obviously, AI agents with their own tokens there's just an absolute flurry of them at the moment. So it's going to be very difficult to pick out winners from this, because like with Memecoins, there's just so many. We don't know for sure which ones are going to fly and which ones aren't. So if you are going to get into this is something that you need to do a lot of research on. You need to ask yourself, is this just a passing thing? Because I'm kind of thinking like this, Dolos bully thing, for instance, like it's great. It's, an AI agent that roasts people on Twitter. Is that going to be a passing thing, or is that going to, be something that lasts? What is the value accrual to the token going to be, et cetera, et cetera? So I think there are a lot of questions to ask, but leaving that aside, there's so much to get excited about in this space.
Amen, man. Amen.
Yeah.
So time to move on. Obviously, that's the news, guys. We covered everything. So now we're just going to go and move on to take a look at the top gainers of last week.
Yes.
And speaking of, obviously, one of the top gainers, well, lo and behold,
none other than Virtual's protocol.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's setting new all-time highs every day.
Exactly, new all-time highs, and like what's it up on a week? It's something like
something insane,
89% or something crazy.
It's crazy. So this is obviously kind of a picks and shovels play for the AI agent meta, and as I said, has blasted its way into the top 100, hence its appearance on this list. Okay, the other four The other four top gainers from last week all have something in common, and his name is
Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Or could it be Baron Trump? It depends. No. I would say more Baron Trump. This
has got Baron Trump written all over it. Yeah. Okay, so next up is Ondo. Ondo has had an absolutely stellar week because Trump's DeFi project, World Liberty Financial, has been buying
that. Exactly. Ondo, which is a RWA protocol, right? So issuing RWA is one of the most preeminent RWA protocols out there. Aave, an OG Bitcoin protocol. I mean, to be honest, Aave itself has been doing pretty well over the past few weeks. It's one of these DeFi resurgence. It's obviously stellar from a perspective of a robust, long-running Ethereum protocol that could be expanded to numerous different places. We've done reviews on it before.
Athena, the same, this synthetic dollar protocol.
Exactly. Crushing it.
Absolutely crushing it. ENA's been going bananas. And again, that is because World Liberty Financial is buying. Now, obviously, I don't think World Liberty Financial is buying enough of any of these to really move the price.
I think it's narrative, If ENA's already, they will get onto Athena in a bit with the coins to watch. There's other things going on with Athena, a lot more. And then,
And bringing up the rear of last week's top gainers is one that I'm sure many people in the chat will be very fond of. It is Chainlink's Link.
The Link Marines must be having a party,
Yeah, it must be kicking off in the Link Marine barracks.
Exactly, yeah. It's been crushing it. It's been doing very well.
Yeah. In fact, I think it might have put in a new all-time high. I'll have to check.
No.
But it's certainly been doing well, Link. And again, that is thanks to some member of the Trump clan.
Exactly, yeah. Well,
2021 levels. Sorry, not an all-time high. 2021 levels. But if at this rate, perhaps a new all-time high shouldn't be ruled out. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, and we've just got one more tweet here just to round out the top gainers. This is from Look On Chain. Yes, you can see that there on the right. And that's what World Liberty Financial has been buying.
Tracking the Trump World Liberty Financial. I mean, we live in a simulation. If you told me this was happening a year ago, like I'd still have to check and see, are we in reality?
Yeah.
They are tracking the wallets of Trump's DeFi project run by his son, which is buying OG coins in the last cycle. And we're now tracking this to see if we're getting coin alpha.
Yeah. The incoming president of the United States is a DeFi degen.
Man.
Just let that sink in.
Cool.
Let that sink in. Okay, coins to watch. What should we have our eyes on next week?
Today is supposed to be a big day for two projects, right? And I don't exactly know the timing, but probably Eastern time. Today, we've got the Etna upgrade going live on Avalanche. We covered that last week, guys. This is the reinventing the concept of subnets, replacing these subnets with these independent layer ones blockchains. So go back and check out our previous news to see exactly what this could mean for the project. But that's going live today. And then, of course, speaking of Athena, they've got this important announcement as relates to USDTP, which is basically a stablecoin that is backed by BlackRock's Biddle Fund. So kind of like utilizing an RWA instead of this tokenized cash and carry thing. So that's also very interesting. That's going live today. And Athena has been rallying up towards that, for sure.
Okay, so that is coins to watch. Now, there's a few dates for the diary. These are all sort of macro focused. 18th of December, which is Wednesday. It's a big one. The FOMC, the last FOMC of the year.
97% or so chance of a 25 basis point cut. So pretty much priced in there, man.
Yeah. I think the market is very much expecting that. So hard to see that going any other way. So a little Christmas present from the Fed. The following day, on Thursday, Q3 GDP final estimate. Final estimate.
This is not the semi-final, the final estimate. They've got to come a few, always mesh. So median 2.9%, forecast 2.8%. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah. And then on the 20th, which would be Friday, core PCE, the personal consumption expenditures index, which is the Fed's favorite index measure. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how consequential that's going to be because that's after the final cut and Jerome's already on holiday with all the Fed officials and stuff. So he's probably not been paying attention to that. He's probably just like, sitting in front of the fire there in Wyoming and whatnot, drinking his whiskey like, I can't wait to leave this job. Yeah. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Okay. Now, before we go on to tweets of the week, I have come up with what I think is an absolutely foolproof way of predicting Bitcoin's price 6 months from now.
Oh, really? That's a bold claim.
This is going to be absolutely foolproof. So on these live streams, whenever Nick is presenting a video, there are two things that are always brought up. One, the fact that whether or not he's wearing trousers. So Nick, can you please reveal today what your trouser situation is?
No, unfortunately not, guys. It's pretty hot in here, so I've gone shorts.
No, he's gone shorts again. Oh, God.
Hey, Telegram.
So there you are. Anyone wondering what Nick was wearing below deck? It's shorts today. The other thing that often gets bro. you've got to keep them interested. The other thing that often gets asked often gets pointed out is the size of Nick's biceps. I saw several comments about this.
It's all AI, man.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out for sure. So I've actually got a digital measuring device here, and we're going to measure Nick's biceps. We're going to do so. I want you to. There we are. I want you to guess in the comments. We're going to do this in. Millimeters. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to go.
You need a bigger measurement. We're going to bigger metric. What the hell is this?
We're going to go metric rather than imperial. So millimeters, centimeters. So put your thoughts in the comments as to what you think this is going to be, and this is going to tell us what price Bitcoin is going to be 6 months from now. This is going to correlate. So, and I'm going to let him flex. Obviously, this is a flex. 46 inches. Good grief. Okay. Oh, my word. This is... Okay. All right. Good grief. Okay. So, can you put that on the camera there? Can you see that? 100... Is that in focus?
146, right?
146.
But to be fair, you should actually, if I'm correct, you should be measuring biceps around. I don't know, because you got to get the full try and everything, bro. So we need to do this properly. We're gonna be scientific with it. To be honest, if we're gonna do this,
take the win, man. Take the win. 146 millimeters. So a Bitcoin price of 146K 6 months from now.
That's my TA for you guys. That's the alpha, man. It's written in the stars.
Okay, so lots of
Pump
lots
it up,
of good
literally,
guess.
Figuratively. Let's go.
7 millimeters? No. Bro is the real life Chad meme.
Oh, bro. Well, Chad, the Chad guy isn't he? He's not blonde, so.
There we are. I bet none of you are expecting that. That wasn't on your bingo card for what we were going to do on the stream today. We'll measure it in 6 months' time as well, see if it's grown. Okay, so after that rather weird interlude, let's look at some tweets of the week. So, Oh, yes, sorry. Forgot about Zara's beautiful intro. Tweets of the week.
There we go.
This first one is from Coinbase's CLO, Paul Greywell.
Yeah.
Talk us through what's happening here,
A
Nick.
little bit of context initially. So, guys, if you don't know the story, Coinbase they're producing this new CBBTC, which is tokenized Bitcoin on Base. They decided they're going to delist WBTC, wrap Bitcoin. There's this controversy. There's some controversy about it about a few months ago because Bit Global, Justin Sun taken over, potentially it may have been FUD, who knows. So Coinbase decides to delist WBBTC and WBTC, sorry, and then BitGo or Bit Global decides to sue Coinbase for monopolistic tactics, right? Then Paul Greywell comes out and he makes a tweet, and Justin Sun replies. He's like, it seems your CEO doesn't agree, and he says. Paul Greywell comes back with a zinger. It's like, it seems that you conveniently ignore that our standards require safety and legality, which is basically also mentioned as a standard in Coinbase's Brian Armstrong's tweet that he tweeted before. Mm-hmm. I look forward to your deposition under oath in California. No need to bring your banana. So that last one was a bit of a zinger. And Brian Armstrong, the CEO, obviously hit a lull into the reply to that. So it's funny going back and forth, billionaires and millionaires basically throwing shade on Twitter. But there is a lawsuit out there. We don't have time to dig into, obviously, the intricacies of what's going on here. There could be a fair argument to be made, is Coinbase just delisting it because of CBBTC? They've listed stuff like Memecoins, completely, that don't have any people behind them. But then there's also there's questions around how the security of WBTC. It may have been FUD, but we don't have time to go into it. But I do think this is an interesting tweet. Good throw out by the legal minds in Coinbase. Yeah, basically he's got some roasting ability.
Yeah, don't tangle with Paul Greywell. The wrapped Bitcoin wars are just beginning.
We got a video. We did a video on that, right?
We did do a video on that. Yeah, it might sound a bit dull talking about wrapped Bitcoin, but actually this is we're talking about a lot of liquidity here. This is a lot of liquidity that's going to find its way into DeFi. So do keep an eye on this whole sort of CBBTC, WBTC thing, because it's a bit more consequential than you might think. Anyhow, next one. So we've been talking about AI agents. It's about time we had a tweet from one. So this is AIXBT. TradFi keeps pouring into RWA. ENA's USDE flipped DAI, now third largest stablecoin with 5.7 billion in supply, generating 24 million daily fees while maintaining 27% yield.
Insane, yeah. Probably look at that funding rate and to tokenize cash and carry. It's also, I put out a cool tweet. It's like, by Athena's hand, a DAI will die. Because obviously you all know the reference. Of course, if you guys don't know the reference, Google up on what Mr. Do Kwon said in reference to DAI back in the 2020 cycle.
Don't talk about Do Kwon.
But it's interesting that, now Athena is it's now the third largest, but it's not a stable coin, right? I mean, it's technically a synthetic dollar. So just important to point that out.
We did a review of Athena on the main channel. So here on the main channel, I should say. So do check it out if you want to know the ins and outs of that. It is a very interesting project. Obviously, you hear the words high yield stablecoin. High yield decentralized stablecoin, and you get a bit of PTSD. That was one of the things that we talked about a lot in that video. Is Athena basically going to be the next Luna? Well, watch it and find out. See what you think. But that's a good example there as well of the kind of tweets that this AIXBT thing is putting out. It's a good one to follow. It keeps you updated.
Speaking about AI, how about AI roasted? So we talked about Dollar's diary.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do the honors there, guy?
I wonder how he speaks. Your timeline's so mid, even agents are unfollowing you out of boredom.
But he's actually there is a Dollar's Twitter account. Did I tell you about this? A bully TikTok account.
Oh, right.
And they use a voice that's similar to this. And this is TikTok account that basically it just says the tweets.
Okay.
But it is kind of like this, if a Greek, I assume he's, what is he supposed to be? He's supposed to be like a Caesar or something, like a Greek god or some description, but it sounds like that. But it's interesting, like someone replied to him, unfollowed, and then Dollars replied, "Oh no, I'm devastated. Let me shed a tear from my pixelated eye. Goodbye, sweet prince." Smart AI, man.
Yeah.
On the roasting side.
Yeah, it's good roasting. It's good roasting. Okay, next tweet is from Kraken. This is the Kraken intern. So this was replying to a tweet from Kraken Pro. I think this was what was Kraken Pro?
Kraken Pro was asking at Kraken FX when mooding. The interns are going in it, man. These Kraken interns, you guys deserve a raise, man. Seriously.
Good game. But look at that, 20 new tokens coming soon. Again, this is something that I'm just generally excited about for over the next few months because we've seen this regulatory change in the US. We saw it. We got a glimpse of it a few weeks ago when Coinbase listed Pepe and Whiff. Off they went. And I think we're going to see more of this because there's much less. I think these exchanges are now able to list with a lot less concern than they did before. And I have to say, we've just done our top exchanges for 2025 video. We were talking about Kraken a lot there. Kraken, they don't list, they're conservative. Now, that's partly because they kind of have to be, but also I think, by nature, they want to make sure that what they're listing is safe, legit, et cetera, But 20 new tokens, I mean, that's big for Kraken.
That's a lot, man. Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot of this from a lot more exchanges as well. Exciting times. If you're not bullish, you should be. Okay, and final tweet of the week is this one. I like that. Can you give the context for this?
The context, yeah. So over the weekend, I think Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, came out and said that he would recommend at least 2% allocation to your portfolio in Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. So Michael Saylor probably came out and thought, 2% allocation. I need more. I've only got like 1.8%. 2%. 2% allocation. MicroStrategy only holds 1.8% of Bitcoin in the world. We need at least 2%, according to Larry Fink. But yeah, no, I think you got not that 2% of the total supply. 2% in your portfolio.
Yeah. Well, we began talking about Michael Saylor and we've ended talking about Michael Saylor. The things have come full circle. So, yeah, I think we've got a very interesting week ahead of us as we lead up to Christmas.
Any comments?
I put a few in. We await this one from here. John Hill says, yay, it's a Monday. Hi, Guy and Nick. We await the Saylor big buy.
There we go.
He did not disappoint. And this one from, buddy, Peak Biceps.
Peak, man, peak. I can't let anyone down.
That's throwing a challenge down. Did you do arms today?
No, I did not. And if you told me to, if you told me you're going to be doing this stunt, I would have prepared.
Okay, so that what was it? 146. That was without working them out today.
It was actually legs. The one exercise that doesn't involve arms.
Okay, I'm not measuring your thighs.
Okay.
Partly because I don't think this thing's big enough. I don't think we need to see
People
that.
Would basically start on the stream that see you measuring my thighs. Like, what stream did I just start watching?
Unsubscribe. This is not what I tuned in for.
That's what OnlyFans are gone, bro.
Which a few people were asking about. A few people were still saying, if we get 1,000 likes, is Guy going to do OnlyFans? So I don't think we did get 1,000 likes. But yes, we had one more. Do you have an Uncle Barry? Do you have an uncle named Barry in real life? No, I have a cousin named Barry in real life.
So really, this guy's really based off a real character. Is he really like Gary?
He is.
Is he Cockney? Is he?
He is. He's an absolute wrong'un.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting, man.
He is on the channel all the time.
There we go. So all of your characters in the previous NFA is based on actual...
I mean, they're all real people. I don't know why you say my characters. They're all real people.
Okay, sorry.
They're all actual people in my life who just happen to look a little bit like me.
Interesting.
Family resemblance. Okay, that is about it for this week then, folks. Like I say, we've got a big one ahead of us, the lead up to Christmas. So join us again next Monday.
Next Monday, indeed. And enjoy this Santa rally, guys. Enjoy the gift that Santa's bring you, these green candles.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho.
See you soon.
Cheers.
A big blow to a reputation. A big blow to a reputation. She's gonna talk to a judge. Big blow to her reputation, pun intended. A big blow to a reputation. A big blow to a reputation. She's gonna talk to a judge. I almost got off on. I love good deep dive. Big blow to her reputation, pun intended. A big blow to her reputation. A big blow to her reputation. She's gonna talk to a judge. Big blow to her reputation, pun intended. A big blow to her reputation. A big blow to her reputation. She's gonna talk to a judge.